So then there is also other association areas in other parts of the cortex. So with the frontal, you get prefrontal cortex is there in this area, and then you have other motor association cortices around this area. The prefrontal cortex is really important because this is important for your personality, and it is preventing inappropriate social behavior. So if somebody is drinking a lot and they are in the they are going to spring break, and that's why they do not understand their social responsibility, and that's why this is happening. You can see it in the news. It is important for paying attention to a specific task, and also for working memory. It is important for problem solving and making decisions. Initially, when you are young, it is concrete thinking, so everything is black and white. But as you get older, late teens, early 20s, then this part of the brain changes, and that becomes abstract thinking. So you want to know the consequence of your actions, consequence of your decisions, and this is the part of the body that is important. How wise you are, so compared with how smart you are. Always wisdom is more important than being smart, because some wise people always make better decisions. And I know you guys are wise. That's why you planned everything properly, and then you finished your undergrad, and you're taking this program, and after that you have plans to go to professional school. So this is all, or if you are going to research, same thing. So this is part of your plan, and that's part of the prefrontal cortex. You can see there's a lot of connections between the frontal lobe and also the parietal lobe, and that is both lobes are involved in attention. So they are getting back and forth, and that's part of the attention. That's why it's connected. So if there is any sensory stimuli that requires any kind of motor response, then the frontal lobe of course is involved, but the frontal lobe will communicate with the basal ganglia, which is deep around here, and also with the cerebellum. So that is they're communicating, and we talk about that later on. The frontal lobe is also involved in the limbic system. So the amygdala is usually important for the emotional response, especially negative emotional response. And look at the news, you can see that. Hypothalamus, that is part of the diencephalon, but also it's important for behavior, and also is part of the limbic system. And the nucleus accumbens is located in the ventral part of caudate nucleus, and that is also part of the limbic system. So this is why it is important for expression of emotion, because this is the function of limbic system, one of the function of limbic system. The frontal lobe is connected with different part of the brain, and this is why different neurotransmitters are involved. So dopamine is involved with the emotional response and drive and everything, and you also have the norepinephrine or adrenaline, that's for attention, acetylcholine for motor activity, and serotonin is also for some emotional response. So there is a lot of neurotransmitters are involved in the frontal lobe. Damage to the frontal lobe, the person can get Phineas Engage syndrome. So not common, but these are the signs and symptoms. Inappropriate behavior, because that is frontal lobe is responsible for controlling inappropriate behavior, so suppressing that. loss of adaptation and initiative, and gait apraxia, so the person has a gait problem because again gait is part of the motor system, incontinence part of the motor system, and abulia, loss of voluntary movement, so again part of the motor system. So a lot of motor abnormalities you can see. Parietal, in the parietal lobe you also have association area, and that is important for sensory stimulation. So any sensation that you received in the primary sensory cortex, then it's connected with the somatic association area, and that interprets that information, and that way you will understand the movement of people, the movement of objects around you. You will understand about yourself, around anything that surrounds you. Also it's important for attention and being focused on a specific task. And to be focused you have to receive stimuli from different areas, so you can get information from any auditory system, so any sound information, speech, things like that. Visual information, so any visual stimuli are coming there, and also any motor activity again is contact. It is in communication with the parietal lobe, so you can make a decision so where to focus. And if there's too much adrenaline is released, now it's difficult for you to focus, so you cannot have a specific attention to a specific thing, and then you try to focus on many things and you cannot do that, and that's why it will cause anxiety. So the parietal lobe is to remove a lot of less important stimuli, so a person can concentrate on a specific stimulus. Distraction cause contralateral asterognosis, contralateral neglect, which means that the person will not be aware of the other side of the body, especially it's on the right side. So the person of the right side that has a parietal lobe damage, they ignore on the left side of the body. And construction and dressing apraxia. In construction apraxia, the person is not able to build something. For example, you give them Lego, they cannot build it, or if you tell them to draw something, they cannot draw anything. And dressing apraxia, they cannot dress themselves, so they need help with those things. Temporal lobe has a lot of different functions. It is important for language, it is important for emotional memory, for factual memory, for sensory input, especially the auditory input, but also olfactory input is there. It's important, of course, for language, and it participates in the detection of objects that are moving, and also recognition of items and different objects. So it has a lot of different functions. And if it is damaged, you can get agnosia, which is inability to recognize objects or anything moving, and they also have problem with the language.